Let me start by clarifying two things right out the gate. First, I didn't sell the top. I received $112 per ounce. Well, technically, it was $111.95 per ounce. Second, I didn't sell all my silver. I only sold 63 ounces of my free silver. Wait, free silver? I know exactly what you're thinking. What is free silver and how did you get free silver? I'll explain, but I need to start somewhere else first. Because on my wealth journey, one of the hardest things I had to unlearn was this. Many of the financial decisions I've made were limited by what I had been exposed to, what I had seen, heard, or repeatedly been told. A lot of those beliefs weren't based on experience. They were based on advice that gets repeated over and over again until it starts to sound true. And it took me a long time to really understand this part, that much of the advice we are given comes from the wolves of Wall Street, not to help us win, but to help keep us as sheep right where they need us. Here's another piece of hard-earned wisdom. My biggest financial failures did not come from the lack of effort or my commitment to building wealth. They came from the fact that I didn't fully understand how the game of money was actually played, the real rules of the game, and that I was being coached by people who had never actually won the game themselves. Remember this, common advice produces common results, and common results make sure you end up exactly where everyone else ends up. Think about the first time you heard about buying gold and silver. Was that common advice or uncommon advice? And more importantly, how has that advice worked out for you so far? Too often, people are deeply committed to strategies that feel safe, sound responsible, and are easy to repeat, but were never designed to build wealth in the first place. From the very beginning of this channel, I've always said one thing: buying gold and silver is your starting point, not your end game. They become your foundation because you can't save your way to wealth. Most of us are taught one way to play this game. You buy, you hold, you never sell. And after hearing that long enough, it stops feeling like a strategy and starts to feel like a rule. Before anyone gets defensive, let me be clear. There is nothing wrong with holding gold and silver long term if that's what you choose to do. What is a problem is when holding becomes the only option you think exists, especially when most of the advice we hear on YouTube comes from people who have never actually navigated wealth building beyond buying and holding. And that's why I want to break down why I sold silver. Because when it comes to money, investing, and building wealth, most of us are operating inside the limits of what we've been exposed to. Before we go any further, I need to say, what is good, Stackers University? It's so good to have you here with me today. And if you've already started thinking a little differently, go ahead and hit that like button and show me some love. Now, let's talk about why I sold my silver, because the context matters. I didn't sell because I don't believe silver can reach $250, and I didn't sell it all. I sold some of my free silver, and that was intentional. Here's the backstory. I had my nephew sell 2 kilos of silver and 1 ounce of gold that he was holding in a depository at Money Metals. Silver spot was around $110, and he received about $102, which, given the conditions, wasn't terrible. At the same time, I received roughly $112 per ounce on the 63 ounces that I sold coming from my silver lease bond with Monetary Metals. Both transactions took one phone call. No drama, no wondering if local coin shops were buying, no standing in line. One phone call, one verbal authorization, one e-signature, metal sold, price locked, and a few days later, the electronic transfer hit. And that's the real lesson I want to drive home. What surprised me wasn't the price that I received as much as how smooth the process was. At the same time, we were hearing about coin shop chaos because volatility forces them to hedge in order to protect themselves. Buying and selling metals in a calm market is like kayaking on a lake. Trying to do it in a mini mania is like being in the ocean during high tide in a storm with everyone trying to paddle to the shore at the same time. This is where most people miss the real lesson here. Most people think of a depository only as a place to store your metals. I want to expose you to the fact that some depositories also function as an off-ramp, a way to convert metals into money with speed and ease when markets get chaotic. This isn't a sponsored video or an endorsement. I'm just telling you what I did. I used Monetary Metals. My nephew used Money Metals. Other people use places like Texas Precious Metals. The company doesn't matter. How you use the company and how they function, that does matter. Because what we just witnessed just over the last 2 weeks is that selling metals during a mania is not as easy as people assume. And that's why having an exit strategy matters so much. Not all of your metals, not because you're abandoning your conviction, but because metals are supposed to serve your life, not trap you in a position. Having some portion of your stack positioned for speed and ease means that if an opportunity shows up, or you want to roll gains into another investment, or if you just want to improve the quality of your life, you're not scrambling during a stampede to try to find a buyer. Ask yourself this: if I choose to sell, have I actually thought through how I would do it? Calmly, cleanly, and on my terms. Because building wealth isn't just about accumulation, it's about optionality. And that optionality only really exists when you plan ahead. Now, I already know that some of you are thinking, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. I understand where that comes from. But for me, owning isn't the goal. Controlling it and using it to build my wealth is the goal. And let me just pause for a second because it's just a shameless plug. When I first started my journey, I didn't know all the ways the money game was played. I didn't know how investors thought about risk, liquidity, timing, or opportunity. I needed exposure to other ways this game is actually played and how it works. Because without that exposure, I didn't realize what other options existed. That's one of the reasons why I wrote this book, The Beginner's Guide to Growing Wealth and Investing, Planting Seeds and Growing Riches. The book isn't about giving you trades, and it doesn't tell you what to buy or sell. The book is about learning how to think about money, risk, time, and investing. Because without that foundation, every financial decision feels emotional, every market move feels personal, and every downturn feels like a threat instead of part of the process. What you're seeing in this video isn't something taught in the book. The video is the result of that way of thinking, not a shortcut around it. Please check it out, available on Amazon and a bunch of other platforms. And that brings us back to the free silver I mentioned earlier. This isn't about flexing. I'm sharing this as an educational tool only. As part of a silver lease bond through Monetary Metals, I receive roughly 120 ounces of silver per year as interest on the 1,000 ounces that they have leased out. Legally, I still own and control my silver, just like the silver I received as interest. Do you know what I call that silver? Yeah, you got it. That's my free silver. Because back in 2024, when I documented that I was making this choice, it was really simple for me. 3 years from now, do I still want to have 1,000 ounces or 1,360 ounces? For me, that was an easy decision. And this is a great example of how advice that gets repeated so often and it starts to sound like truth and how we blindly follow it. Just think about this. Do you think Rick Rule took the silver that he sold down to a local coin shop and stood in line and sold it? Or is it more likely that he made a call, told someone to sell, and received an electronic deposit? I'm not saying Uncle Rick is treating anyone like sheep. He's just not pulling the curtain back all the way so you can see how it's actually done. And that's the point of this video. There's more than one way to navigate these markets. If you limit yourself to holding metals in your physical possession, your options are limited and frankly not as good. Let me hit you with this last oh crap moment. Look at the bottom of this invoice. I paid 0.75% to sell, about 85 cents per ounce. That's it. This is why I tell you that the money game has different rules and it's played differently at different levels. Your job is to understand the game and learn how to play it better over time. Hold everything in your physical possession if that's your conviction. Never sell if that's your conviction. Just don't mistake a frequently repeated mantra for the only way to play. Because the real risk isn't choosing the wrong strategy, it's never realizing that you had additional options. And finally, yes, I rolled the proceeds into oil stocks. The ratio tells us oil has never been this cheap relative to gold and silver. At some point, that reverses, and that's the next wave I plan to ride. $25 silver was the time to buy silver. $60 oil is the time to buy, especially when I sold $111 silver to get it. In the comment section, if silver ran to $200 tomorrow, how would you actually liquidate part of your stack? Do you think buy and hold is a strategy or just the only one most people are taught? If you sold part of your silver, what would you roll it into and why? Or you can simply put an A+ in the comments if you love stacking, if you enjoyed this video or you just want to show me love, or if you just want everyone to know that you always stack smarter and never stop learning.